and the unpredictability of roller coasters have taught me an important lesson about life and my inability to control it. When I was 10, I rode my first roller coaster, Disney's Space Mountain, with my older brother, Brian. With its hairpin turns and the pitch black, its strobe lights, and its sudden stops and starts, it literally petrified me. I gripped the lap bar in the stone-like silence of a nightmare. I didn't scream or yelp or cry. But when it ended, I sobbed, and I swore I'd never ride another roller coaster again. 7 years later, in 1993, the seemingly insurmountable trauma of Space Mountain gave way when Brian, my roller coaster buddy, my big brother, my hero, took his own life. Brian endured severe mental illness for a long time. He heard voices, and he suffered with delusions of persecution. When he died, his suffering became my post-traumatic stress. Grief would suddenly appear and send me spiraling. Every insecurity I felt, real or imagined, could send me into a nosedive. It was terrifying. I won't say that all of my fears can be traced back to Brian's suicide, but at the time it seemed that way. In the summer of 1999, I was 23. I went to Long Beach Island on the Jersey Shore, where I met a beauty of a girl. After we went out a few times, she asked me if I'd like to do something fun. When I said, sure, she said, okay, let's go to Great Adventure. I gulped, I groaned, and with clenched stomach muscles, I mumbled, I don't think so. Why not? She asked. While I considered preserving my ego by lying, I really liked this girl, so I thought I'd answer somewhat truthfully. I'd maintain control of the situation and let her know where I draw the line without any talk of childish fears. So I said, well, I don't really do roller coasters, I'm just not that into them. Oh, that's okay, she said. We can just hang out, drive through the wild safari, play games, eat, whatever, but no roller coasters. Come on, it'll be fun. As my stomach muscles slowly unclenched, I said, okay, sounds good. The following Saturday morning, I went to pick her up in my 1988 IROC. I thought cruising down the turnpike with the T-tops off might impress this girl. Her hair in the wind, her arm in my arm, my hand on the stick. But when I arrived at her house, she grabbed her keys and said she'd drive. Preferring to be in the driver's seat, I protested, but she explained that sometimes those monkeys in the wild safari can do a number on your car. I appreciated her concern for my Camaro and accepted the powerlessness of her passenger seat. And she was right. We had a great time. Drove through the wild safari. Those monkeys can do a number on your car. We played games, ate some food, and went on the merry-go-round. Just when I was feeling comfortable, this chick asks, so, want to go on a roller coaster? Goddamn bait and switch. When I said no, she really turned it on. Please, it'll be so much fun. Why not? What could go wrong? I answered curtly, no, it won't, because I don't want to, and I could fall out and die. I didn't tell her the simple truth. I was afraid. And I certainly didn't tell her the complicated truth. The last time I was on a roller coaster, I was 10. It was dark, it scared the shit out of me, and I rode it with my older brother, who took his own life. Unaware of my difficult emotions around roller coasters, she pressed me further. She couldn't have realized how trapped I felt. I didn't want to feel humiliated on top of that by making a scene in an amusement park. So a minute and a half later, there we were, waiting in line for the Batman and Robin Chiller ride. By the way, the lines at those places are barbaric. Hundreds of people packed in, standing beneath a corrugated steel roof, surrounded by chain link fencing. That is literally the design of an easy bake oven. I tried my best to stay cool, but I started to sweat everywhere. She asked me if I was okay. I snapped at her. Yeah, I'm fine. I wanted a cigarette. I wanted to leave. I looked for an exit to make my Irish goodbye. I thought I might just tell her I had to pee and walk to the car to drive home. Goes to her ass right there. But then I remembered she was the one who drove. She was smart. She probably had this whole thing figured out. And then it was too late. We were on the platform, walking through a turnstile, sitting in the seat, pulling down the shoulder harness. The ride attendants did their 10-second safety check as I'm thinking, I'm going to die in this thing. This chick is going to kill me, actually kill me. I couldn't take it anymore. I looked at the girl. I was in full panic mode. Okay, I can't do this. I'm going to have a heart attack. Get me off of this. I pushed up against the safety harness. No dice. Apparently, these things only come loose during the ride. Get me off. Get me off. Get me off. In a rare moment of powerless vulnerability, I looked to this girl for help. She laughed at me. You can't get off now. The ride's about to start. Look at the countdown. I looked at the countdown. Red light, yellow light, green light, go! I'm not a scientist, so the details of speed, height, and G-forces are way beyond me. But it was fast, it was big, it sucked the stomach from my abdomen and the eyeballs from my sockets. We shot out of that tunnel 0 to 65 in 4 seconds. I lost my breath. I thought of Space Mountain. I held tight. We rocketed up an incline, and then an inversion. I went weightless. I don't know what happened next, but I let it out. I let it all out, and I screamed. I know it's the 21st century, and I am not supposed to say things like this, but I screamed like a girl. High-pitched and frenzied, over and over and over, I screamed, and I heard that girl laughing all along right next to me. We got off the chiller. My legs were shaking. It was terrifying. It was blood-curdling. I thought I might cry. It was great. We rode roller coaster after roller coaster that day until the park closed. Great American Scream Machine, Viper, Batman the Ride, Medusa. That roller coaster chick turned out to be all right. In fact, she and I were married just a few years later in 2004. I screamed on that ride, too. Tara, my wife, my heart is pounding right now, taught me something important that day. I didn't have to pretend to be a man. I didn't have to pretend to be in control of roller coasters or to be in control of the terrible feelings about my brother. I could just be. Tara led me to that precipice where it's super scary to face my fears, but loads more fun and more fulfilling because I wouldn't be doing it alone. She would be there with her beautiful smile and her unfettered laugh. I felt a shift that day from something lost to something gained. Tara and I have been married nearly 20 years and have 2 beautiful and perfect daughters. Charlotte, who loves coasters and calls me her roller coaster buddy, and Judith Josephine, named after my brother Brian, whose middle name was Joseph. Last summer, Judith, Charlotte, and I visited Morey Piers in Wildwood, New Jersey, to ride Atmosphere, a 140-foot drop tower. Needless to say, I can see all your houses from the top of that thing. But there I was, with my girls, plummeting towards the ground, screaming at the joyful free-falling lack of control, screaming as I had with their mom 20 years earlier at Great Adventure, screaming as I wish I could have with my brother Brian again. When we unbuckled Judith rolled her 7 going on 17-year-old eyes at me. Come on, Daddy. That was fun and you know it. And she's right. It is fun. And I do know it. Thank you so much.